Hey guys, Coldbrew here. Welcome back to another Raid Shadow Legends video. We've got news of a fusion that's coming into Raid Shadow Legends for Demon Spawns. It's going to be a spirit defensive based champion, guys, starting on the 9th of the month. So a week from now is when the fusion will be starting. From what I understand, this is going to be just a fusion and not a fragment collection, so it's going to be different than the ones that we had before. Let's have a look at the champion. It's going to be Helicath. Look at that. Look at this guy, very demon spawn like. Looks okay. The actual model, let's see if they did send us the actual model for the hero. It's kind of the same as the picture. There's no legs though. It's like pointy spikes. So let's have a look over at the skills. Attacks one enemy 2 times. Each hit has a 30% chance of placing a 25% weaken. Debuff for 2 turns. Will ignore shield and block damage buffs. I like the weaken, but it seems to be like a smaller chance on the A1 skill. Other champions have it at a higher chance usually, but because it's a double hitting attack and probably will increase with books, although we don't get that information here, that probably is going to be like 40 or 50% and then another 5 if you go the support round and masteries. That becomes a little bit better. Attacks all enemies. This is A2. Places a shield buff on all allies for 2 turns. The value of the shield is proportional to this champion's defense. I like it. It sounds very much like a Valkyrie skill. Attacks all enemies, places a shield buff on all allies for 2 turns. The value of the shield is proportional to this champion's defense. I like it so much because it sounds very much like a new Valkyrie. Attacks all enemies, places a shield buff on all allies for 3 turns and a counter attack buff. Okay, no counter attack buff. The value of the shield and the damage inflicted. The value of the shield and damage inflicted are proportional to this champion's defense. All right. So the value of the shield, it's a little bit worded differently here. So this one is the value of the shield is proportional to this champion's defense and not to the damage dealt. So the damage dealt will be would not mean anything, but it will be proportional to the defense. So Valkyrie usually we build her with like 7,000 defense and she still does a big shield, although we don't build her with any damage. So her damage also adds up to that shield. So it sounds very, very interesting. Winds of the Pit. And then we got Devoted Servants right here, the A3 skill. Places a block damage buff on all allies for 2 turns. Love it. Passive effect. Whenever a block damage buff is placed on an ally by this champion is removed, stolen, or expires, places a 60% increased defense buff on that ally for 2 turns. Alright, love this, but how does this work? The Devoted Servant is a 6-turn active effect. It seems to be like a passive, but with a 6-turn cooldown. Maybe it's a 6-turn cooldown skill, but still quite long. 6-turn. Maybe with books this becomes a 4-turn, and if it does, then it means it's one of the first block damage champions that allows us to build block damage teams, very similar to what this guy has. What's his name? Roshkar the Tower and Sir Nick. Sir Nick also has an unkillable that's a 4-turn cooldown right here, 6 turns and then becomes 4 turns, but we don't know the reduction of the cooldown. And then we've got Roshkar, who also has a very similar skill. If I find him, yeah, he's also Sacred Order. 4-turn cooldown also, debuff, block damage debuff for 2 turns. But this champion, it's a little bit different because it seems to be like a block damage buff. Although good enough, he also has the need to place the increased defense buff, which I guess is cool. But it gives me the, I don't know, I think that this cooldown will be like 5 turns. I love this champion so far for a free-to-play account. I just want to know the reduction from books and how this happens. But so far, he seems like a very strong champion, regardless. Increases champion's defense by 5% for each ally under block damage buff. Alright, that's cool. Counterattacks with the default skill whenever an ally is hit while under block damage buff. Can occur once per enemy turn. Love this, actually. So this passive Feast of Agony is also going to give him the ability to counterattack and actually use his weaken skill. So that's pretty cool. Extra procs from the War Master, extra procs from weaken. Looks to be like a really strong skill. The passive plus the block damage buff, it all depends on the cooldown here. And if it's going to be like a 4-turn cooldown when fully booked. If it's going to be a 4-turn cooldown, then all the teams that use a Roshkar or a Sir Nick can be used with this guy now. and he's gonna be a free to achieve champion. But if it's a 5-turn cooldown, it will be like having a man-eater, all right? A legendary version of a man-eater, I guess, in the sense of the block. Okay, man-eater has a, look at that, a 5-turn cooldown on his unkillable that goes for 2 turns, but he also provides a block debuffs buff. So if you provide a block buffs on a 5-turn cooldown, there still will be teams to do, but it's much harder to build them compared to, let's say, having the speed of a Rosh card. Regardless though, I think it's going to be a huge champion for everyone to have, and everyone to have that's progressing through the game. So definitely liking it. Definitely looks to be like one of the stronger fusions we had since the past. So until I get my actual hands on it, this is all speculation on how he works, how his shield works, how the passive block damage skill works, how the passive effect of that also works with the increased defense. Why would you need increased defense if you're going to do a block damage kind of comp? Sounds silly, but it also sounds that you can allow for an infinity buff kind of team, in the sense of protecting a big shield for 50 turns until the block damage becomes useless. And then the block damage will allow the for those 50 turns will allow the shield to be increased by champions like a Brogni. So like an infinite comp sounds possible with this guy instead of having the Valkyrie. So it's going to be Helicath, Brogni as an example, and Krisk building an infinity comp. Sounds very interesting. Sounds quite cool. Can't wait to test it out, guys. And seems to be like one of the most interesting fusions we had. And this one is going to be a fusion. So what you need in fusions is also to make sure that you have enough potions. Let me see if I keep to my word that I'm telling you guys. Do I have enough potions to make a spirit fusion? No. You need like 21 of these, and then you need like 20 of the arcane ones. I guess I can do this and get them, but I usually just farm a little bit so that I don't use up my silver to make the potions. What I always have is void, but all the other potions is going to be harder. So another part to be prepared in these kind of fusions is that events will be popping up to do them, and through those events you'll be picking up specific champions, like rare champions that they will be adding to the game. They still haven't told us. So if it's one champion that you need 4 times, then I guess it's going to be that. If not, then it will be 4 different epics that you'll need to take to level 50. So having enough food champions leveled up already, ready to go, let's say the 4 stars to make those 4 stars to 5 stars. That's a good way to prepare, but always it's up to you and how much, let's say, budget you have with the game, if you plan on spending to help you push through those specific events. Well, this was the video, guys, for today. Thank you guys for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya.